Hey there YouTube, this is Mark from Northeast Indiana in the shop. Working on my little pancake compressor, and I think I got it fixed. It is plugged in and turned on. It's fully charged right now. This is a Harbor Freight Fortress pancake compressor, 175 psi. So I want to show you what went wrong with it, how I attempted to fix it, what went wrong with that, and what I think is actually going to work on this little compressor. So we're in front of my little corner workbench that if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen some pictures of that. This is where all my automotive stuff is kept now, and then I keep my compressor in here, and I've kind of reserved this bench for automotive repair. So what originally happened, let me get up here and grab the parts. What we're looking at is this tube right here. Now I got to be careful because this is, well, here, just let me turn it off. There we go, just so I won't stick my finger in something where it shouldn't be. This is my repair. Now this was the piece that was originally on there. It blew out right in here. I put some tape on here for the hose clamp. It had these types of hose clamps on them, and Harbor Freight I think carries these, but they don't carry the tool to clamp them, and they are a pain to get off. So I was using a regular hose clamp. Take it back on the tape. I think what I was using that for was because it frayed really bad down here, and I just wrapped it up, keep it out of the way. I wasn't trying to keep it from blowing out the side, although, nope, that's where it blew out, right there. I thought it was up in here. Anyways, this went in here, and one time I came in, turned my compressor on. I don't leave this on all the time because it does cycle often for what I use, my brad nailer and staple gun and things like that. Pretty light duty compressor, but it does work good. I really like it, and it was doing good until this blew the hose. So I went to TSC and I got some of this braided pneumatic line and put it on there. And this has been cut because I cut the pieces so I get it off easier. Put it on here, put hose clamps on it, turned it on. This is supposed to come up to 175 psi. It came up to just over 100, so you're looking at like 110, and it just kind of stopped there and just was running. So I walked away. I thought, you know, if it's still running in a minute or two, I'm gonna come over and just turn it off and see what else it might be. Well, I had my back to it. I was doing some grinding, and all of a sudden I hear this loud bang, it sounded like a rifle shot went off in my garage, and my garage is all closed up here, the shop. It went off, and I about hit the floor. I came over here, and this is what happened. You can kind of see it. It just blew out the side. Now, this is supposed to be 4 pneumatic lines. I bought like 10 feet of it. You know, they didn't have short pieces. They just had it in bulk. And I think it was like 13, 14 bucks. So now I got, you know, 9 feet of it left. Blew that out. So today I went to Harbor Freight, and this is what they told me. So I went into Harbor Freight. This weekend they're running the free tool, little gadget tools. You just got to go in. You don't need to make a purchase. And I saw one of those, you know, long stem tool pickup jobby cheap things, and I thought, you know, I don't have one of those. Maybe that'll save the old man from having to bend over and pick stuff up off the floor. So that was my incentive to go into Harbor Freight. I went in there. I was talking to one of the guys about the compressor, and I said, you know, hey, this is the compressor I got. I said, what kind of warranty does it have on it? And he said, it's about 90 days. And I was like, well, yeah, unless you buy the extended plan, which I never do, because I always think, well, by the time I get done with this tool, it'll be just easier to go replace it, self-replace it. So I had bought this compressor last summer, so I knew it was out of warranty. And we talked. I told him a little bit about what was going on. And real nice guy. His name is Justin, and it's in the Harbor Freight in Warsaw, Indiana. And Justin was talking to me for a little bit, and he said, well, I tell you what. He said, because we were bouncing ideas off each other. He said, why don't you do this? Why don't you bring the compressor in and buy a replacement plan for 2 years? I think it's $49.99 on this Fortress pancake compressor, 175 PSI. He said, and you can walk out with a new compressor. To which I said, just up front, I'm not trying to get a new compressor. I'm not trying to scam you or anything like that. And he understood that. And he said, well, that's, something that we're able to do. And I said, well, I really appreciate that. I said, but as we were talking, I was looking over at the airline, and it dawned on me, why not use one of these actual airlines for that piece of tubing there? And I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I described what I've done. And so far, this thing is still holding about 165 PSI. So that's really good. I was messing with it, so it dropped a little bit. So I came home. He's like, come in, tell him Justin said this is, we talked and all this. And I was like, man, I really appreciate it. He's like, well, we talked a little bit about how I'm in there just about every weekend and maybe during the week, at least 1 or 2 times. And for me, personally, I know people have opinions about Harbor Freight. However, I feel like where I'm at and the money that I have allotted myself to spend on the hobbies, these are not jobs that I do, but the hobbies that I have, I don't want to put a ton of money into things. So, I just said, I'll just get some stuff at Harbor Freight. It's more inexpensive, cheaper than other places. And, I'll figure out, sometimes it's a tool that I may not know really well. I'll figure out how to use it. If I really want to use something in the future and I see it, I can always upgrade. So we got to talk, and he's like, just bring us in. And I said, man, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not trying to get a new compressor. And I said, let me go home and try this idea out, and we'll see what happens. So that's how I got the air compressor repaired. Just using, I actually bought a 3-foot airline because I do have some sections of airline here in the shop, but they're older. And I thought, if I get a brand new line, it's the PSI that's causing it to blow out the side. So maybe, this will work. So I think it was like $7.99 for a new line. And I chopped a 5-inch piece out of it and put the hose clamps on it, and it works. But I want to give a shout out to Justin and Harbor Freight. He has no idea that I'm doing this. He has no idea I have a YouTube channel. Harbor Freight doesn't sponsor this channel at all. Although I wish it would throw some tools my way. That'd be cool. But just good customer service there. They're always friendly at the Warsaw location. I have a great time every time I go in there. And maybe it's because I spend money every time I go in there. I don't know. But they're friendly. We joke around a lot, and it's kind of like, part I enjoy about living in a smaller town is that, it's the interaction's a little bit different than you'd get in a city. So anyways, I am excited about this thing holding pressure. Now I can use my brad nailer and staple gun and stuff without worrying about it. I do know that air coming out of that little compressor going into the tank, it is hot. So I think what was happening was, at least on my first repair, that vinyl tubing got so hot that it weakened in one spot just enough to where it just blew a little balloon and popped. So anyways, another little project that I've got checked off the list. I can finally get this mess cleaned up, shoved back under my workbench, get this workbench cleaned off so it'd be ready to go for any car repairs I have, and chalked up another thing to remember in the old brain. and I'm pretty excited about it. I like repairing things. I much rather do that than participate in the disposable society of which we all live. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Anyways, video is long enough. I've been rambling on, so I got to get to work on forging those hooks for my gun rack. We'll see you guys in the next one. Get out to your shop, try something new. Don't be afraid to fail, because you very well may the first time, but the second time it may work. So, you know, you'll be a success. Catch you on the next one. Cheers.